first tonight, a safe place to live, work, and play. Eleutheра's top cop is looking to allay fears of violence as shootings on that island appear to be on the rise. And over on the west coast of America, the Bahamas ambassador to the U.S. is giving an update on Bahamians living in California as protests continue to erupt in Los Angeles. And then the story of a brave 9-year-old battling a chronic disease that's impacting her daily life. Hear how you can be a blessing as she seeks medical attention abroad. And then in our news at 7:30, temperatures are heating up and so is the pressure on Bahamas Power and Light. The energy minister is assuring residents that they are prepared for the summer demand. The details on these stories and more as Our News Live at 7 starts now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. An uptick in violent crime on Eleuthera, specifically several shootings in Harbor Island recently, creating concern amongst residents on that peaceful island. Tonight, Eleuthera's top cop is emphasizing that there's no need for Brylanders to panic. Just this week, a young father lost his life to gun violence, while another was shot and injured in that same incident. And in recent weeks, 2 others were victims of gun violence. A woman was shot on May 26 while sitting in a vehicle. 3 days later, a man was also shot. Officer in charge of the Eleuthera Division of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Superintendent Franklin Neely, insists that despite the recent wave of violence, the island remains safe.
In regards to the uptick, one incident is of concern for us. Harbor Island is peaceful, tranquil area. There are enormous amount of good, decent persons that live on this island. So one shooting, one incident is of concern to us.
And just as officers here in the capital are called upon to do more, Neely says the pressure is mounting in Eleuthera as well. He is assuring residents that officers on Eleuthera are up to the task.
The officers from the Eleuthera Division, we got to be relentless in our approach to crime and criminality in our communities. We got a later fear of crime. Let people know that, hey, Harbor Island is still a safe place to visit, work, and play.
Pilot Donald Ferguson Jr. denied a murder charge during his arraignment in the Supreme Court on Friday. Ferguson's appearance before Justice Gilomena Archer Mins came 3 days before the anniversary of Godfrey Giovanni Roll's murder. Prosecutors say Ferguson shot and killed Roll in the parking lot of Jet Nassau on June 16, 2024. Ferguson's case has been assigned to Justice Dale Fitzpatrick. The 27-year-old next returns to court on June 27th to learn his trial date. Meanwhile, Ferguson remains on remand at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. While tensions continuing to rise on the west coast of the United States as President Donald Trump recently deployed the National Guard and Marines to the state of California. For the past week, protests have been underway in the streets of Los Angeles, with protesters demonstrating against the Trump administration's immigration policies. While protesters insist their demonstrations began peacefully, there are some images circulating of rocks and Molotov cocktails being thrown and cars set on fire. Our news team spoke to the Bahamas' ambassador to the United States, Wendell Jones, who shared more on the issue.
The Consul General there, Ms. Newbold, sent a report to us in the embassy, and all is well with the Bahamian staff in the mission, as well as Ministry of Tourism staff in in Los Angeles.
Jones added that the Bahamians traveling to LA or those living in the area should continue to follow any and all advisories.
As far as she knew, no Bahamian was affected by what was happening in Los Angeles. Bahamians who travel to LA to be cautious. There are some Bahamians in the diaspora there, and we expect the same thing for them to be cautious in their going to Los Angeles and moving about.
Well, she's just 9 years old and full of energy, hope, and a fighting spirit. But instead of spending her days at school or on the playground, Brianna Toot is facing a battle no child should have to fight. Now her family is struggling to keep up with mounting medical bills. Our Delvado has her story.
I am Maya Senior Gravis.
Meet 9-year-old Brianna Toot, small in stature but incredibly brave beyond her years. Brianna loves swimming, playing bingo, and being close to home, but her everyday reality is far from ordinary. Instead of simply enjoying the carefree joys of childhood, Brianna finds herself in and out of hospitals at any given moment, all because of a chronic illness she continues to battle.
When I go to the doctor, it makes me feel very sad because of all of the tests that I have to do.
Myasthenia gravis is a rare neuromuscular disorder that weakens the body's voluntary muscles. For Brianna, it means random seizures, irregular heartbeats, regular hospital visits, painful tests, and an unpredictable body that sometimes just won't cooperate.
Sometimes it gives me a headache, or my temple to hurt, or I feel weak. Sometimes my eye gets very blurry. It's like I'm looking through a cloud.
Her mother, Deidre Tooth, remembers the first sign something was wrong.
The left eye completely shut down. We was up and down to the doctors, trying to figure out, doing all kind of blood work. And finally, accident emergency, and the PMH diagnosed her with myasthenia gravis. She experienced a lot of weakness in her arms and her legs. You always know when she's really, down. She don't play, she don't do anything.
But the diagnosis only marked the beginning of a long, uncertain journey. With no local specialist for the disease, Brianna's family is now forced to look abroad. With her mother being unemployed and her father deceased, her brother Jaheim Raming says the monthly visits will get pricey.
The doctor recommends that she go back to the dermatology clinic at about 2 to 3 months out of the year. We have to conclude this year with our doctor visits starting in June. We're starting this June, 23rd. So her doctor visits roughly will add up to about $15,000 for the rest of the year.
To help ease the financial burden, Brianna's family has started raising funds by selling custom awareness t-shirts, but they're still in need of additional donations. Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
Absolutely brave and beautiful spirit. Thanks so much for that story, Delvado. Well, it's time now for your first look at temperatures with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Greg, happy Friday. What can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Megan, and a happy Friday evening, everybody. Beautiful conditions on the outside, a little bit on the breezy side, as we still have that ridge of high pressure in charge. 85 degrees our current temperature. We'll call it warm. East winds at 15 miles per hour, but your feel-like temperature is up there in the upper 80s. Temperatures around the islands right now. It is 85s in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Great Harbor, Berry Islands, Nichols, San Andros, and here in the capital. We pick up 84s in Alistown, Bimini, Marsh, Harbor, Abaco, Governor's Island, Luxra, Kemps Bay, South Andros, 85. 84s, Black Point, that's in the Exuma chain, Georgetown, Great Exuma, Arthurstown, Cat Island, Port Nelson, and Deadman's Key, all 84s. 83 in Coburn Town, San Salvador, and into the Southeast Palmas, 83, Duncan Town, Ragged Island. 85, Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, Delectable Bay, and Abrahams Bay, all 84s, as well as Providential, Tricks, and Kickers Islands. Deep South, Matthew Town, Inagua, you are 86 at this hour. Satellite radar composite, we are much drier, much more stable air mass across us. We have some small showers sneaking in on that easterly wind flow, but all in all, that ridge of high pressure will continue to keep us very comfortable, but temperatures will be a little toasty. So if you plan on doing anything on the outdoors on the weekend, make sure you stay hydrated and take frequent breaks in the shade. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, so we all thought Anthea Charlton, amazing world-class jumper with a dash of 100 meter on the side. But what if she gets better at the 100?
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas. Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Marknut. Let's do show. Florida Gators junior Anthea Charlton has made history time and time again on the track and in the field over the course of the last few months. But the best part about her storybook season is that we haven't seen the ending yet. Charlton earned an All-American honor in the field with the long jump and finished 5th with a leap of 6.58 meters. As great as that performance was, it was only her second most impressive performance on the afternoon in Eugene, Oregon. In the 100-meter semifinals, Charlton won her heat in a blazing, record-setting 10.87 seconds. It was the 6th fastest time in NCAA history, 3rd fastest time on the 2025 top list, a new Florida Gator record, and the 2nd fastest time in Bahamian history. Also competing in Eugene, Tennessee Vols quarter-miler Javonia Volkart earned her 5th All-American honor with a 13th place finish in the 400-meter semifinal in 51.65 seconds. The junior improved on her 16th place finish from last season and was just the 5th Vol in program history to be a multiple All-American in the event.
In his contribution to the budget, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bolig unveiled major enhancements to the nation's sports and athlete funding programs. Bolig said that since 2021, millions have been invested across infrastructures, grants, subventions, education, duty exemptions, and most critically, in empowering Bahamians as athletes, ambassadors, and leaders. Minister Bolig announced that the athlete subvention program will increase to $1.7 million, a 25.8% growth over 4 years.
And as usual, your 10YS Plays of the Week. That'll do it for Our Sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world. As the sole known survivor of the deadly Air India plane crash recounts how he survived the terrifying ordeal. Plus, the popular US-made candy Jolly Ranchers have been flagged as unsafe to eat in the UK. And then, recently implemented travel restrictions introduced by Washington causing major disappointment for many Cubans. We have the details when our news returns.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV. Experience more.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. As rescuers in India continue to search the wreckage for missing people and aircraft debris, the only known survivor of the deadly Air India plane crash on Thursday recounted how he survived, saying he managed to escape the wreckage through an opening in the fuselage. Fiona Jones reports.
The only known survivor of the deadly Air India plane crash told reporters on Friday how he escaped. Ramesh Viswash Kumar said it felt like the plane came to a standstill in the air before plummeting down into a building. He was next to an emergency exit and managed to get through a broken hatch in the door. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited him and those injured on the ground. More than 240 people died in the world's worst aviation disaster in a decade on Thursday, as the plane bound for London's Gatwick Airport crashed into a medical college hostel moments after taking off in India's Ahmedabad. Meanwhile, rescuers combed the wreckage and ruined buildings for missing people, as well as debris from the Boeing 787 plane, which could help explain the reason for its crash. As an inquiry gathered pace, police sources confirmed that one of the aircraft's 2 black boxes had been found. And investigators said they had recovered a digital video recorder from the debris. Modi was briefed on the progress of the rescue operations as he visited the crash site. India's NDTV reported that New Delhi is considering grounding Air India's Dreamliner fleet for safety checks. India's Civil Aviation Ministry, Boeing and Air India did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
U.S. President Donald Trump urged Iran to make a deal on its nuclear program before it faced more attacks from Israel that he said would be even more brutal. The U.S. president said there is still time to make this slaughter come to an end. He also urged Iran to make a deal before there is nothing left. Israel launched an array of strikes against dozens of Iranian targets on Friday, hitting nuclear facilities, ballistic missile factories, and military commanders during the start of an operation to prevent Iran from building a nuclear weapon. As tensions rise, the chief of the NATO alliance says it's crucial for allies, including the U.S., to work to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East following Israel's latest attacks on Iran.
We don't need an escalation in a region which is already so heated in so many ways. For the regional reasons, of course, but also for the risk for spreading problems around the world. So we call for de-escalation, but obviously it is the countries in the region that make their own decisions on that.
Some popular Jolly Ranchers candies have been flagged as unsafe to eat in the UK, with health officials warning they contain chemicals that could damage DNA and raise cancer risk over time. The UK's Food Standards Agency says certain products from the US-made brand, like Jolly Ranchers hard candy and gummies, contain mineral oils banned under UK law. While the immediate risk is low, people are being urged not to eat them and toss them out. Meanwhile, businesses still stocking them are being told to pull them off shelves right away. Many Cubans are disappointed at the disrupted travel between their country and the United States as the travel restrictions introduced by Washington out of national security concern went into effect on Monday. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a proclamation to ban travel from certain countries on Wednesday evening. The proclamation will partially restrict the entry of nationals from 7 countries. Cuba was among them. With the travel restrictions in place, many Cubans are facing difficult situations, such as being barred from activities like visiting family in the U.S. or participating in academic exchanges with top U.S. universities. Still to come in our news, Today in History. Find out interesting facts about the day that was June 13th. Plus, the spiritual role of the father in molding the next generation. A local religious leader breaks down the impact to our Bethany McDermott. And then in our news at 7:30, June is Men's Mental Health Month, and the Cable Bahamas group of companies is doing its part to spread awareness and offer resources. We'll tell you how when our news returns.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
When Team Bahamas took on the region at the 2025 Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships in Trinidad and Tobago, we were there. When the country's stars of tomorrow announced their arrival to the world. When champions rose, records fell, and history was made, we were there. Cable Bahamas, RTV, experience more.
My name is
On this day in Bahamian history in 2012, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force announced the launch of its reserve program. The first 22 reservists completed new entry training on May 26th that year. Also in 2012, star of popular reality courtroom show Judge Joe Brown came to the Bahamas and made courtesy calls on senior government officials, including then Prime Minister Perry Christie. Judge Joe engaged in a private discussion on the subject of swift justice and described the Bahamas as hope for the hemisphere. Then in 2013, a Sky Bahamas plane coming from the United States carrying nearly 24 passengers crash-landed at the Marsh Harbor Airport in Abaco. CEO Captain Randy Butler confirmed there was no loss of life and said preliminary reports indicated there were no major injuries.
I understand on touching down on the runway, something happened where the airplane exited the runway, skidded off the runway is what I'm hearing right now. All passengers, I understand, are well. We're very thankful for that. I understand pilot did a good job.
Then in 2017, former Member of Parliament for Michael V. Alfred Gray flatly denied that more than 40 Auckland's residents were hired on contract just a day or two before the last general election. Gray slammed then Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest for making what he called an unfortunate statement, insisting Turnquest needed to provide proof to support his claims.
I got from the Prime Minister at the time that if these people performed well and they fulfilled the requirements as laid down by the expectation, they would have a job. And so for the Deputy Prime Minister to speak publicly about a 3 months contract for the employees who were hired in Acklands, I'd like to challenge him to produce that contract.
June 13, 2018, some 200 gaming house employees showed up at British Colonial Hilton for a morning town hall meeting seeking clarity on government's proposed sliding scale tax increases. Many of them furious with government and said they were not only in fear for their jobs, but for their families.
In my opinion and the standpoint that we are at right now, obviously it is not our intended purpose for there to be any potential job losses. But unfortunately, if things continue on the impeded trend that it's on now, we might have to look at the possibility of downsizing.
Once the taxes are enforced, we're going to have to cut back. The biggest cost in operations, as everyone knows, is labor.
In 2019, Belinda Wilson was elected for a 5th consecutive term as president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. As members headed to the polls, Wilson telling Our News her work over the years spoke for itself. Then in 2021, the Adventure of the Seas officially set sail from the port of Nassau. Some 1,100 visitors from around the world had to be COVID tested by a team from Doctors Hospital before boarding the ship.
All right, well, this Father's Day, one spiritual leader is reminding you of the spiritual side of the globally recognized day. Living Waters Kingdom Ministry Senior Pastor, Apostle Raymond Wells says the best advice is for dads to be present in their children's lives. He spoke with our Brittany McDermott.
Fathers are the authority in the home with a threefold assignment. Fathers has the responsibility to lead, provide, and to protect.
Despite the spiritual mandate, many families in the Bahamas are headed by single mothers who are tasked with being mother and father to their children. Apostle Raymond Wells says while mothers are natural nurturers, there is a downside to this.
If there's no balance, it will affect the children mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So there must be a balance. Even if the father and the mother are not married, that still don't ignore the fact that both of them have a role to play in the life of the child or the children.
Wells attributes a lot of the social ills the country is currently facing to the absence of fathers in the lives of their children. He referenced personal encounters to support this point.
In the country as a pastor and also the chaplain for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and also been working in the prisons for years, a whole lot of the children who are wayward, who are either incarcerated, most of them will tell you their father was not in their life.
As a father of 3 himself, he says the highlights of fatherhood are being present and being able to provide for his children. This Father's Day, he's leaving the same message to other fathers.
Sometimes it's not the gift that you give them, it's the time that you give them. And there's sometimes you find yourself in hard times as a father where you can't provide the gifts or pay for this school fee or do this, but be present. Let them know that you're there for them and do whatever you can to help guide them and direct them, and I think that's the best gift. That's the eternal gift.
Reporting for our news, I'm Anthony McDermott.
All right, great advice, Apostle Wells. Thank you so much for that, Berthany. To watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, be sure to visit ournews.bs. That does it for Our News Live at 7. Joining us now is our Jerome Sawyer with the latest headlines. Jerome, TGIF.
Hello, Megan. Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend.
All right, thank you so much. And I hope you've selected all of your gifts for Dad for Father's Day.
He's going to be so surprised. So surprised.
That's a very open statement.
So surprised.
I know. Very, very surprised. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Megan. Well, coming up in our news in the next half hour, summer months mean big problem for BPL as we run for the switch on our air conditioning units. Hear what the energy minister is saying about BPL's capacity this year, and wondering, like Megan, what to get Dad for Father's Day this year. Well, we've got a few ideas. Here are your latest headlines. Ahead tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, BPL is about to be put to the test. As the summer heat can sometimes bring rolling power outages, the Energy Minister, Jo Beth Colby Davis, is promising better days with more efficient engines. Then a disturbing trend, more and more minors hauled before the courts on serious crimes. Our Joshua Williams seeks out answers from an expert tonight. He asks, what can bring a young boy to a life of crime? Have you completed your hurricane list yet? Well, make sure you've added the right insurance coverage. 'Tis the season, and we want to make sure you have everything you need before the storm arrives. And later, have you considered what you'll be getting your dad for Father's Day? Our Danielle Miller has a list of the hottest items for Dad this year.
Welcome to Journey TV.
I'm glad the Wally boys have split, because you know what? They know we ain't got no more competition.
The words on the Spelling Bee show in a lot.
Phosphorescent. Hey, it's the Charlie Bahama Show. Welcome, I'm your boy, Charlie Bahama.
New season of grooving is here.
At Struckham, we're all about peace of mind. With the latest tools and technology like PestPack, managing pest control just got easier. It's simple. Log on to the portal to review past services or monitor trends. Just tap Service Reports to access detailed records and see how we're keeping your business pest-free. You can even customize permissions so your teams in maintenance and health and safety have real-time access to everything they need. With PestPack, you're in control, anytime, anywhere. Get ready to simplify pest management with just a few taps.
Welcome to our news at 7:30. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jerome Sawyer in for Natalia Hall tonight. Well, a man who claims he was drunk sentenced for assaulting and exposing himself to a senior citizen, and an added feature coming to LPIA that will allow passengers to skip those long security lines. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, they're about to be put to the test. Power providers BPL about to face into its most challenging season as summer sets in. As temperatures average in the 90s and up, more air conditioning units will begin to drain the power grids. An experience with rolling power outages this time of the year makes for weary consumers. But BPL's energy, or the country's energy minister, JoBeth Colby Davis, is again promising that BPL is up to the demand. So we asked what makes this year different from any other.
So our most efficient engines have been coming online first in the day, like a shift. So we put the most efficient engines, the better heat rate index on those engines, which gives us improved services. And then the other ones would come on stream as we see demand increase, which is usually in the evening time when you go home and everyone is turning on lights throughout the home. And so that's been helping us.
On speaking with reporters today on the sidelines of another event, the minister talked about improving the transmission and distribution system and replacing existing faults in lines. On top of these efficiency upgrades, which she suggests will put an end to the outages, more efficient appliances and better power consumption can go a long way in decreasing those traditionally high summertime power bills.
Keeping your usage down, not having every light on. Now, working in the industry and understanding why my father would yell many times, why you have that light on and you ain't in the kitchen anymore? You understand now usage contributes a lot to your cost, your own personal cost of electricity.
A man gets 3 months in jail for flashing a 90-year-old woman and rubbing inside of her thighs. Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley handed the sentence down to 44-year-old Nicholas Hanna after he pleaded guilty to indecent exposure and indecent assault. On June 8th, the senior citizen was sitting on the porch of her home in Elizabeth Estates when Hanna sat next to her and caressed her thigh and exposed his genitals. Hanna claims he was drunk and said he was sorry for what he'd done. He faces up to 3 years in prison for the indecent assault, but was jailed for only 3 months. He will serve a month for the indecent exposure charge at the same time. There has been a recent spate of crimes involving minors, either as perpetrators or victims. Our Joshua Williams set out to find the connection between our young men and these disturbing trends. His search led him to an activist who shares insights onto what's causing them to turn to a life of crime and what can now be done.
While troubled teens ending up on the wrong side of the law is nothing new, there seems to be an uptick in teens being dragged before the courts for serious crimes. Some of the most recent cases are shocking. This week, 2 17-year-olds were charged for back-to-back shootings in Pinewood Gardens. Then on June 2nd, a 16-year-old teen faced charges in connection with the murder of an Acklands man. And 3 weeks ago, a 15-year-old faced murder charges for shooting and ambushing a man as he left his Kemp Road home. Crime activist and executive director of Teen Challenge Bahamas, Eric Fox, has been working with troubled boys for decades. He says most of these incidents are rooted in broken homes.
Teens are more impressionable, if I may say, and so they're much easier to be influenced, and they get something to prove. Young men, a lot of them come from single-parent home, where they don't really have the influence of a father and the love of the father within their home. So leaving them open for negative influence from older individuals who bent on having.
And just as they've been dragged before the courts, teens have also been the victims of crime. Fox says while it's not the same in all cases, narcotics play a factor.
And then we need to also understand where drugs are concerned. The influence of these pills and also this foreign marijuana that really plays on the mind with psychosis. These stuff are grown and manipulated with the THC, and a lot of young minds can't really handle it. They open their minds up and then persons just can move in and have negative influence on them.
So what's being done to curb the violence, and how can they be saved from getting to that point?
Tomorrow morning at Calvary Living Church, we're doing a seminar for single parents. From 9 to 12, where we'll be addressing these issues, and we'll have men there from society who are open to help father these young men. Programs are coming on board.
And for the young man thinking about picking up a gun or knife to right a wrong that's been done to him, Fox has this to say to you.
And don't throw your life away. If you kill someone, his life is gone. You lock up, you go to jail, you charge it murder, your life is gone. Nobody really wins. It's just a vicious cycle, man. You need to make your choice and say, this is not something I really want to be involved in.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks for that story, Josh. Well, the airport experience is about to get a little easier for travelers as global entry will soon be added to the Lynden Pinling International Airport. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper making the announcement this week at a global sales mission in Orlando. Global Entry is a U.S. Customs and Border Protection trusted traveler program that allows expedited clearance for pre-approved, low-risk travelers upon arrival in the United States. Cooper stopped short, though, of saying when the program will be rolled out.
We're adding to the great partnership that we have with the U.S. government as well. We have TSA PreCheck, and very soon, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, we're going to be having global entry as well.
Breaking news!
This is going to really support the seamless travel. We're excited about it.
Well, it was at that same mission Cooper announced up to 5 daily direct flights here from Orlando and about 15 daily flights from different Florida destinations.
Wow. So we're expanding. There is no doubt that Florida accounts for a fairly significant portion of the arrivals from the USA. Okay. There is no doubt that it's grown 16.5%, and there is no doubt that you keep coming back again and again with more than 60% return visit.
By now, you should have a pretty good idea of the essential supplies that you need for your hurricane kit. But have you thought about preparations like having the right insurance coverage? Our Danielle Miller sits down with a CG Atlantic claims manager to learn about those important checklist items that are often overlooked.
It's not needed, it's not necessary, it's too expensive.
This is one of the myths claims manager at CG Atlantic General Insurance Ruth Bethel says she's heard over the years. In response, she gave a striking but rational reality check.
The moment that you think about acquiring an asset, you should have insurance for it.
Bethel says living in what's become known as Hurricane Alley requires all of us to take a proactive approach when it comes to making sure our properties are covered.
There is what we consider XCAT insurance. That is the insurance that will cover you for fire and other perils, excluding natural disasters, catastrophes, hurricanes, etc. And then when you take out a hurricane insurance, it provides you with cover for any eventuality affected or related to a storm, for example. And you can insure your contents standalone, meaning just contents by themselves, or you can insure your buildings. It's always advisable. Any individual, all the assets that you have, you should insure them. So if you own a home, if you own a car, if you own a business, if you own a marine, you want to insure and safeguard against any potential loss.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Time for your first look at temperatures outside. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by live in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Jerome, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions around the islands and outside our studios. 85 degrees under warm and breezy conditions. Your winds are out of the east at 50 miles per hour. Feels like temperature still feels like a very warm 89 degrees. Satellite radar composite, much drier conditions across area. Stable conditions courtesy of a ridge of high pressure that sticks out of the Atlantic across our area. Most of the activity has been shoved towards the west, but we will continue to see 1 or 2 spotty showers moving across the islands over the next couple of days. Very warm temperatures for the weekend. Make sure you stay hydrated and take frequent breaks. That's your quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your weekend forecast is still to come.
And still to come on Our News tonight, replenishing our coral reefs. The country's first ever Coral Gene Bank launched today at Atlantis means new hope for endangered coral species around our islands. And mending the minds of men. Cable Bahamas puts on a unique mental wellness event just for the guys. And later, what have you done for Dad lately? Well, Father's Day is days away, and we've got the best gift ideas on the island. That's coming up when our news returns.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as Inti Corporation shines brighter than ever. Inti Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
The country's first ever Coral Gene Bank launched today at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort. The first of its kind in country, it was made possible by a partnership between the Atlantis Blue Project Foundation, the Bahamas government, and local and international research institutions. President and Managing Director of Atlantis, Audrey Oswell, telling a news conference today the project is rooted in science, but driven by national pride and purpose.
The Bahamas Coral Gene Bank is a living laboratory, a secure sanctuary built to sustain, study, and safeguard the genetic diversity of our coral species and safeguard the genetic diversity of our coral species, especially those most threatened by stony coral tissue loss disease and coral bleaching. These 2 devastating threats, one driven by disease, the other by the warming waters of climate change, are reshaping our reefs at an alarming pace. Through advanced scientific techniques, we can now collect, store, propagate, and eventually reintroduce resilient corals back into Bahamian waters.
Now, as you heard there, the new facility is designed to act as a high-tech sanctuary capable of storing, propagating, and eventually reintroducing these resilient coral species into Bahamian waters. One of the key scientific minds behind the Gene Bank is the executive director of the Perry Institute of Marine Science, Dr. Craig Dagrin. He says this is a pivotal moment, not just for the Bahamas, but also for reef restoration efforts across the entire region.
This is a huge step forward for a country that has more coral reef area than any other country in the region, whose reefs are a biodiversity hotspot of global renown, and the reefs that contribute these ecosystem services that are valued at approximately $1 billion a year are at risk. So there's a lot at stake here, and I'm proud of the Perry Institute for Marine Science's pivotal role in developing and operating this facility.
Mending the minds of men. As June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, the Cable Bahamas group of companies is taking a stand to break the silence around men's mental health and men's mental wellness. In collaboration with the company's engineering and human resources departments, they hosted a one-day seminar under the theme Facts for Men, aimed at encouraging open and honest conversations. The event brought together men and fathers from across the company, creating a safe space to talk about mental health, physical well-being, and the everyday pressures that men face but rarely discuss. Engineering supervisor Troy Saunders.
This event is hosted so that we could bring awareness to mental health and to narrow down the stereotype or to eliminate the stereotype, bring in awareness so that men can have a place to be safe, comfortable, and share the issues, whether it be personal or professional. And sure, we are men. We take a large responsibility for society goals. So at the end of the day, when we help men with their mental awareness, we actually helping society at large.
Alive Senior Digital Marketing Manager Mick Masser was among those in attendance. He says the session sparked necessary conversation, not just for the workplace, but life beyond the office.
I think it's good that Cable Bahamas Group companies are doing this for the men in our workforce, because we, deal with a lot of stress, on our day-to-day jobs, trying to make sure we are completing tasks for other people in this nation, make sure the fiber is installed, making sure your mobiles are up and running, making sure the market is there, everything is being visible, and we don't realize how much stress we're dealing with on a day-to-day, and we think it's not stress, but it actually is. Our body is telling us this is stress, we're worrying about our job security, making sure we're providing for our family. So that's why doing this, not just only in June being Men's Health Awareness Month, but also mental health awareness, in general. So it's good that we're having a conversation.
When our news comes back from the break, have you considered what you'll be getting your dad for Father's Day? Our Danielle Miller has a list of the hottest items for dad this year.
Coming up in sports, Anthea Charlton sets another milestone. From the always exciting House of Assembly, hear how sports will factor into the budget, and we interrupt happy hour with the 10YS Plays of the Week.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. Florida Gators junior Anthea Charlton has made history time and time again on the track and in the field over the course of the last few months. But the best part about her storybook season is that we haven't seen the ending yet. Charlton earned an All-American honor in the field with the long jump and finished 5th with a leap of 6.58 meters. As great as that performance was, it was only her second most impressive performance on the afternoon in Eugene, Oregon. In the 100-meter semifinals, Charlton won her heat in a blazing, record-setting 10.87 seconds. It was the 6th fastest time in NCAA history, 3rd fastest time on the 2025 top list, a new Florida Gator record, and the 2nd fastest time in Bahamian history. Also competing in Eugene, Tennessee vault quarter-miler Javonia Volcott earned her 5th All-American honor with a 13th place finish in the 400-meter semifinal in 51.65 seconds. The junior improved on her 16th place finish from last season and was just the 5th vol in program history to be a multiple All-American in the event.
In his contribution to the budget, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bolig unveiled major enhancements to the nation's sports and athlete funding programs. Bolig said that since 2021, millions have been invested across infrastructures, grants, subventions, education, duty exemptions, and most critically, in empowering Bahamians as athletes, ambassadors, and leaders. Minister Bolig announced that the athlete subvention program will increase to $1.7 million, a 25.8% growth over 4 years. He also said the existing 2-tier program will evolve into a 4-tier framework, which also includes coaches and comes complete with athletes' pensions and national insurance benefits for the first time.
Will be rising from $12,000 annually to $14,000. Performance tier athletes receiving $21,600 up from $19,600. Elite athletes moving to $26,600 and world-class athletes receiving $36,000 annually.
It's Friday. I know you're busy making your very, very important Father's Day plans, but let's take some time out for the 10YS Plays of the Week. At 5, we get started in rookie baseball. Mets prospect Bohan Adderley with a perfect day at the plate, 4 for 4 with a grand slam.
At number 4, Tavario Miller shows he can do it all. Hits the 3, gets into the paint, head into the semifinals.
At 3, down in the DR, 12U Pony Baseball, Wade and Bain drops not 1, but 2 bombs in a win over Panama. This will forever be known as the Weedy game. Attaboy.
At number 2, even though the shift was on, Jazz does look like a natural at shortstop, making this great snag.
And at number 1, we head to Oregon. Not much superlatives left to be said about Anthea Charlton at this point. Already one of the best long jumpers in the world, just became one of the best 100-meter sprinters in the world. The 10.87 was crazy, but she's lowered her time in the last 3 races, so you may want to be in place for the final on Saturday. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Gotta love budget talk, favorite part of the year.
Yeah, I kind of know someone. Name begins with Kaiser and ends with Dorset. Should be a part of that program.
Listen, if we don't use our platform to boost his stock, then what are we even doing? Back to the studio. And still to come on our news, still not sure what to give your dad this Father's Day? Our entertainment and lifestyle reporter, Danielle Miller, makes it a whole lot easier for you. Plus, Greg is back with your extended forecast just in time for the weekend. That's coming up when our news returns.
Are you ready for the stormy season? Don't wait until the storm clouds gather. Contact the experts at Alive Business today and let us help you prepare for this hurricane season. For a limited time only, you can get 50% off our Bahamas Cloud, the ultimate solution to secure your data and communications, ensuring they're accessible even in the worst of weather conditions. Don't let the storm catch you off guard this season. Stay ahead of the game with Bahamas Cloud from Alive Business.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customer's cellular phone.
This is our news. Welcome back. We are under really stable conditions courtesy of a ridge of high pressure that's centered in the open Atlantic. It extends in a southwesterly fashion across us actually, and will continue to dominate our weather for the next couple of days. Looking at mostly dry conditions, hot temperatures, a little bit on the breezy side. We could see 1 or 2 spotty showers moving across our area as that high pressure stays with us until next week. Taking a look at the tropics, all's quiet out there. A couple of tropical waves moving across the tropical belt out there in the open Atlantic. One just moving through the Leeward Islands. That's moving into Central America, South America, and the Gulf of Mexico remaining quiet. But across the area, that ridge of high pressure will stay with us once again, as I mentioned, through the weekend and into early next week. Much dry conditions expected. Future forecast showing nothing happening out there. Just a few spotty showers moving across with that east to southeasterly wind flow through Saturday, and that will continue to be the trend through Sunday as well as that high pressure system stays with us. Boating conditions, choppy underwaters, caution flag in the northwest Bahamas, 15 knot winds out of the southeast, central and southeast, caution flag also down there, but a little stiffer east to southeast, 15 to 20 knots, 47-foot seas expected. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your weekend forecast, of course, Saturday should be very nice, breezy conditions, a couple of isolated showers, but Sunday's the big day. Happy Father's Day to my father. This is the big day for us guys. So if you are celebrating Father's Day, make sure you enjoy it. It's going to be very nice, but temperatures will stay near the 90-degree mark. Beautiful conditions expected for next week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night and a great weekend, everybody.
Many thanks, Greg, and great weekend to you as well. Well, Father's Day is just days away. Have you considered what you'll be getting your dad this Father's Day? Well, if not, our Danielle Miller hit the streets to find out exactly what Dad's wish list is this year.
It's a time reserved for honoring the dads in our lives. Globally, Father's Day is a time filled with adoration, appreciation, and presents. From socks to cigars and colognes, Father's Day gifts vary depending on your dad's unique interest. But there's one local Father's Day staple that some Bahamian men have started to grow tired of.
I just don't want to grab and rice.
And with that said, we hit the streets to find out exactly what gifts dads really want.
I would like a trip to Italy.
Some clothes, just to spend time with my family.
I want a Jeep. I thought I played. I want a Jeep for Father's Day.
What kind of Jeep?
Acura.
However, for those that already purchased dozens of crabs in preparation for the day, all is not lost. Some fathers still request the popular dish.
Crab and rice?
Yes. I have some on lunch right now.
Crab and rice is great, as long as it's cooked nice. You have all the ingredients in there. It's a Bahamian delicacy. It's nice. Along with fish and some other stuff. You got it.
So what will you be getting, Dad, for Father's Day? Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks a lot, Danielle. I'm sure lots of folks will be honoring those requests for the crab and rice. But like Dad said, make sure it's good, eh? All right. Okay, well, that's going to do it for tonight's news. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Jerome Sawyer. Thank you so much for watching us tonight and this week. Be sure and stay tuned for the weekend edition with Megan Shepherd this weekend right here on Our News. Once again, thank you so much for watching us. Have yourself a great evening and a safe weekend.